Hello, everyone. This is Linda Mavavi coming to you live from Michigan. It's a beautiful day. It's Wonderful Wednesday. And in today's broadcast, I have one of my favorite people, and she is all the way in Singapore. Priyanka, welcome.
Hello, welcome. Thank you.
You're most welcome. My guest today is Priyanka Dinodiya, and she is all the way in Singapore. But Priyanka originally is from India. She's an international traveler. She is a woman of many talents. That much I can tell you.
Thank you.
We would spend at least a good 10 minutes if I was to list some of her talents, as I said, some of her talents. But in today's broadcast, Priyanka is going to be sharing with us how she has been growing her email list. Priyanka is an entrepreneur. She runs her own company, which has Priyanka, what is your company all about? I know it's essential oils, but
Yeah.
she's a certified marriage and family therapist, but she works as a researcher, but she's also a certified aromatherapist. And that is why we've invited her because she's an expert in essential oils and she's also running a company which deals with essential oils, soaps, blends for what you call those,
Yeah.
roll on,
Roll on.
roll on. And why I'm excited to have her on the show is all her products are organic products. They're not made from any of the toxic materials because I know some of you have told me you've used roll-ons that have given you rashes, but what Priyanka produces is 100% organic. It's not items all just produced in China or massively produced somewhere in another country. No, she sits down and with her own two hands actually crafts what she puts out. So, Priyanka, thank you for agreeing to come onto this show. I'm
Thank you.
excited because you have been telling me about your email list that you have been growing.
Mm-hmm.
But what's more exciting is you have been growing this email list organically, not with paid traffic, not trying to spam people on Facebook, but actually interacting with people on Facebook and then sending out an essential guide to a guide to essential oils, which we have linked in the description below. It's a free resource that Priyanka provides. So please click the link and it will take you to the PDF. So tell us a little bit more about how you got started with your business, Aroma Global.
Well, actually, I was in the US when I first started using essential oils. I was living in California,
Yes.
and some of my friends introduced me to it. And
Mm-hmm.
just to find out more of how I can use essential oils for myself, I started reading more about it, and it got very interesting. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to read a lot more, and
Yes.
I'm actually going to study aromatherapy.
Yes.
And I did. I took the course. I did it within like a year. I
Uh-huh.
became an aromatherapist,
Yes.
and I started just giving things to people, blends, and just advising different essential oils. So
Mm-hmm.
when I did move back to Singapore, I was
Yes.
like, I want to do something more with it. And that's when I decided to start Arome Global.
Wow. Priyanka, I mean, what has amazed me is you have shared with me in the past that you actually put the labels yourself on the bottles
Yeah.
and you write out thank you cards. Now, one of the exciting things you told me about was how you created your thank you cards using some, was it postcards that your grandmother had given you some time ago?
They were cards. So when my grandma passed away, she had a lot of blank cards,
Yes.
and I didn't want to throw them away. So I brought them back to Singapore and I started just writing thank you to people because I believe that customer service is very important,
Yes.
especially in a business that involves essential oils and organic stuff.
Yes.
Um, so that's how the idea came to me, and I just started writing thank you notes to some of my customers, and it kind of became a
Mhm.
thing, and I just continued that.
Well, because, as the saying goes, the proof is in the pudding.
Yes.
You have actually a review on your business Facebook page where a gentleman was so touched that you hand wrote the thank you note. So
Yes.
it just goes to show that the customer service that you are providing, people are taking note, and that you've gotten great feedback on the service that you provide. So tell us a little bit more about the variety of products that you're offering, because I know you're not only offering essential oils. What other products have you created that go together with the essential oils that you provide?
So I have like the single essential oil blends, which is like lavender, peppermint, lemon, etc.
Yes.
Um, but I also have blends that I make on my own through
Mm-hmm.
the therapy that can
Mm.
help people in general. I do focus a lot on the psychology of it because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a therapist.
Yes.
Um, so I do focus on bringing people, making them upbeat or changing their mood, relaxing them, stuff like that. So most of the blends that I do create are
Yes.
related to psychology and the human behavior. I do have roll-ons as well, which are also blends of what I
Yes.
created, and
Yes.
then sprays. So I have room sprays and pillow sprays and just various kinds of sprays.
Wow, wonderful. Because as you're talking, next time when we have you on the broadcast, we actually would like for you to showcase some of the products that you put out. Because one of the cute little things that you've showed me in the past is you have these, what you call diffusers, little
Yes.
teddy bear diffusers. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit more about those diffusers.
So I learned how to make clay diffusers at home,
Yes.
and so I started creating them and selling them for people, and they're just like small diffusers for made out of clay
Mm-hmm.
that people can put in like a small bathroom or a car or
Wow.
even for kids.
Yes.
They can just place it next to it and just put a few drops of essential oil, and that's all you need. You don't need electricity, you don't need candles, you don't need anything with that. So
Wow. Fantastic. Now, before we now jump into actually how you've been creating your email list, can you just share with us, like you mentioned, how um, we can use essential oils to alter our mood? So let's say, for example, maybe I'm in a cranky mood, I can't sleep at night. What essential oil would you recommend that I utilize for that situation?
see, if you're talking about just a single oil, most people like lavender. That
Yes,
helps them relax and that kind of helps them sleep as well.
yes,
Um, if you're lavender is one of the best oils that you can find, but if you don't like lavender, like I don't like the smell of lavender, and I
yes.
know a lot of people find me weird,
Uh-huh.
you can actually use like cedarwood or you can use orange kind of works for me as well, depending on what kind of mood I'm in. Yeah.
Yes.
So it actually just depends on you and your preference and what you're looking to get out of it.
Wow, that's exciting because I know quite a few people too who say they don't like the smell of lavender. It reminds them of their grandmother, or, so they stay away from lavender. But personally, for me, I think it's such a great oil to use. I like the smell, and and the flowers are very pretty too. What
Yeah.
about for people who have children? Because at times children can become a little bit cranky and upset, and
Mhm.
and they need to become emotionally stable. Can we use essential oils for children? I know you did mention it, but just for our audience to understand, can we really use essential oils for children?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Actually, you can use essential oils for children from 2 years old and above.
Mm-hmm.
Younger than that, it's not really recommended. But
Okay.
um, if you're using it for children, the most important thing is you need to dilute, and you really need to dilute a lot.
Okay. All
Um,
right. Sure.
so,
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
so for example, if you're using lavender for sleep and crankiness
Yes.
for kids, you just dilute 1 drop of essential oil with maybe a 10 ml coconut oil or any other carrier oil that can go with it.
And that I'm glad you're mentioning that, Priyanka. That brings us to another question that I was going to ask. just the general use of essential oils on the skin,
Mhm.
should I apply an essential oil directly to my skin, or how does that work? Do we mix it with other oils? I know you mentioned a carrier oil, and can you give us an example of a carrier oil?
Yes.
Hmm.
So, to answer your first question, if we can just use essential oils on our skin,
Yes.
um, the best thing to do is do a patch test. If you're
Okay.
using pure essential oils
Hmm.
from the manufacturers like I buy,
Yes.
no, do not use it because it's going to burn through your
It's going to
skin.
burn through the skin. Okay. I thought so. Hmm.
Essential oils are very, very potent, so it's not recommended.
Yes.
Um, but you can mix it with a carrier oil, like I said, and some of the carrier oils can be like jojoba or a vegetable oil or fractionated coconut oil. These are
Okay.
just some of them. There
Yes.
are thousands of them out there.
Okay.
Um, so you can just dilute and then apply.
And then
Um,
apply.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You,
Yeah. That helps to know because I remember my first few months of being introduced to essential oils. I was so excited. And I went out and bought lemon oil and some other oils. And I remember having read that orange oil is a very good fruity uh s- scented oil, and it's good to use under your underarms if you don't
right.
want to use any of the toxic roll-ons out there. And of course, because I was so eager, I just applied it directly, and it was a miserable experience.
Yeah.
All day I was burning. I tried to wash it off, but it had gone just deep into the skin and was
Mhm.
really painful. And I realized I'd burnt myself. So it was a lesson learned. So I'm glad you're mentioning to us that it is not recommended. Diluted with a carrier oil, you are not going to lose the scent. You're not going to lose the power of the essential oil by you diluting it. It is actually recommended. Now let's jump into your email list. How you've been growing your email list. How long have you been growing your email list? When did you actually start?
Honestly, I started working on it about, I would say, about 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
But I actually put out, so I created the PDF and
Yes.
I created the link for that. And
Uh-huh.
then I put it out about a week ago,
Yes.
maybe 10 days. And I've had about from 0 to 24 today. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, within 10 days.
within
So
10 days.
mhm,
That's
it,
exciting because it's like you've gone from zero to hero, in just in just under a short time, in just under a short time. Um, Tell us a little bit about the PD free resource, which is a essential guide to essential oils that you are offering. And audience, if you're listening, the description, the link is in the description, and it's a free resource that Priyanka provides, very beautifully written, very beautiful PDF. You can actually print it out. I've seen it myself. She has put a lot of work into it because, as Priyanka mentioned, she started only putting out, doing her email list just about 10 days ago. But she had done a lot of, excuse me, work in the background where she prepared her PDF, made sure it was all polished up, had, spell checked and everything. So there is quite a bit of work that goes into putting out very good lead magnets. And in order to grow an email list fast, you want a good lead magnet. So Priyanka, how can you just kind of take us step by step? What did you actually do maybe to start getting people to get the free resource that you're providing, the PDF?
well, honestly, the first thing I did was I started talking to people about essential oils and what they use and what they like and what they don't like,
Yes.
and asking them a whole bunch of questions.
Yes.
And once I did get enough people and I did start having conversations with enough people, and
Yes.
mind you, the conversations were not just about essential oils. I've
Yes.
had conversations about the pandemic, I've had conversations about, where they live and where I live, and just a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
Um, so once I did start getting friendly with them, I introduced the PDF and I said, this is something that I created. Would you like to take a look?
Mm-hmm.
and most people were very happy to get it and
Yes.
download the PDF. Um, yeah, so that's how I started. I'm still in the process of mailing it to some of the people.
Yes.
It's a slow process.
Yes, it's a slow process because you are not using ads. You're actually just building your email list, really fast, I should say, organically. Now, you mentioned that you were talking to people. How did you find these people? Were you finding them through the internet, in Facebook groups, on social media? How did you actually encounter some of these people that you began to talk to?
Well, some of them they had liked my business page, and
Okay.
that's how I started conversations with them.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them, I actually started talking to them on Facebook groups
Yes.
and messaging them, introducing myself, and that's how we just started the whole email list.
Wow. For me, that is uh, technique on its own that still some people do not realize how powerful Facebook groups are. And you mentioned something that I really can resonate with. You mentioned how you were not only talking about essential oils, like essential oils here, because people will tune off, but you are just interacting with people like, hey, Linda, how are you doing today? How's your day going? How are things with you with the stay home policy in your own country? And then people began to warm up, and you befriended those people and then sent them the PDF. So in essential, you were not spamming anyone. You were not forcing the PDF upon anyone. You were not spamming, because a lot of times we see spamming on Facebook where you befriend someone, and then 5 minutes later they're sending you a link to the PDF and so forth, which I think is not the best practice. But
Mhm.
you are spending time interacting with people. Can you just share with the audience? I remember at one time you perhaps asked a question in a group, and how many responses did you get when you asked that question?
So I actually put out the question, how many people use essential oils?
Yes.
And honestly, I was expecting maybe 5 or 6 people to answer,
Yeah.
but um, actually 180 people responded. And I'm still getting responses today.
And you're still getting responses.
Yeah.
So, Priyanka, when you ask questions like that, rest assured that maybe in another 2 months or so, you're going to end up with maybe like 350 responses in total, because that kind of thread is continuous. It's just ongoing. People will continuously be responding to it. And
Mhm.
I like that idea of asking questions, because when you ask questions, we're self-opinionated people. And so on Facebook, people like to give their feedback, but it's also part of them supporting you in each other in Facebook groups when we answer questions. And so
Yeah.
that was the perfect opportunity, because then you went ahead and started talking to these people, befriending them. So audience, what Priyanka was using, the method that she was using is not attraction marketing. Attraction marketing is great. Attraction marketing is wonderful, especially when you have lots of money and you can put out lots of money for ads. You can go ahead and do attraction marketing. And it's also if you have time. But what Priyanka was using was a method that I always highly recommend to our clients here at WebPoint 24, which is initiative marketing. She did not just sit back, put out the PDF and say, well, if you want, would you like my PDF? And being apologetic. No, she was fierce and aggressive, but in a very polite and good way, where she said, okay, what is the action? Put out a question. She has all these responses, and then began to engage people. So that is initiative marketing. And what I like about that is she's now building her email list with very key targeted people. She's screening them as she's going along. So by the time she has maybe 100 people on her list, she knows these are laser targeted people that she has found in different groups, because she's just not focusing only on one group. However, I have to say, the method she has used is targeting like a big Facebook group. So, Priyanka, how many people would you say are in one of the biggest groups that you belong to, where you had about at least 180 responses?
That group has, I'm guessing,
Yes.
over 5,000 people in there.
Absolutely, you're right, because it's also a group that I'm in. And the last time I checked, I think they were talking about they had gone up to about 348,000.
Oh, okay.
348. Yes, 304. So you're right. It is above 5,000. So
Right.
that group is just growing bigger and bigger and bigger. So, but it has laser targeted entrepreneurs because it's all female entrepreneurs who
Mhm.
are startups. Some are well established, but everyone in that group is out there to support each other. So that is a very good technique that you are using. And when it comes to email marketing, what are some of the tips that you can say to the audience? Maybe someone who has never started an email list. They're wanting to know, where do I start? How do I even do it? I know you've given us some hints, but what word of advice would you give for someone who's starting out?
I think my first advice would be to find Linda.
Okay, thank you. Find webpoint 24.
Yes, because
Thank
that's
you.
how I started.
Uh-huh.
And listen to her, do what she says.
Yes.
Um, I think that's important. But I think it's also about, being confident and knowing that you can do it. You
Yes.
might not, I had no idea when I started talking to you about it. And
Yes.
I was very nervous. And I'm like, at times I thought to myself, I'm like, is she crazy?
This is crazy.
Does she really want me to do that? Um, but it actually worked. And I just think you need to be a little more creative. Just
Absolutely.
think outside of the box, and you'll
Absolutely.
definitely do something good with whatever you're trying to do.
Absolutely. And I'm very happy that you mentioned that word creativity, because that is one thing that I've enjoyed seeing about you. You're just creative. And once you grab hold of something, you just run with it, and you're very creative. So what Priyanka has really been doing is unleashing that creativity that she already had, putting it in the lead magnet that she has provided, putting it in the messages that she's sending out to people, because she's just not sending messages like, hey, oh, do you think you would like my PDF? But like we mentioned, she is engaging, conversations not only about essential oils. And then when she finally offers her free PDF to people she has talked to, they 99, 100% of the time, most people are like, yes, for sure, send it over. Okay, send it over. And that's what you want. Okay, so Priyanka, can you share with us a little bit more about the landing page that you created? Because I think that is the key thing that you went ahead and did, was you created a very thought out landing page that would allow people to land on the page. You offer them the free PDF, and they give you an email address. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you actually built your landing page?
Um, Honestly, again, like I said, when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yes,
But
like
I,
most of us.
yes, but I kind of wrote it down and I said, okay, this is what I want to offer. And
Yes,
the first step was to create the PDF because I needed to know what I'm giving to people.
yes,
And after that, I went into Katra
mm-hmm.
and I started building the PDF page from there.
Yes,
I had the template and I just kind of replaced things and went in there and figured it out with your help, of course.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, it took me a while to get it working because
Yes.
for some reason it just kept breaking down on me every time I did something. But I finally figured it out. Yeah.
And the more, it broke down, the more you were fiercely aggressive, like, I'm going to learn how to do this so that I can even do it in my sleep. And
Correct.
that is what she did because when Priyanka first came to us, she wasn't using Kartra. She, like most of us, she had her website, a very beautiful website, but it wasn't generating enough traffic for her to start her email list or really get in, eyeballs on her website. But now with the PDF, more and more people are clicking and then going to her Facebook page. So then she has been doing this in phases, okay, in phases. But what is beautiful about it is it's all organic because I know some of you are thinking, well, I'm sure it costs a lot of money to grow your email list. No, it doesn't. But what it will do, what it does is it does take a little bit of work. Priyanka definitely did put in a lot of elbow grease. Let me tell you that. She did not have someone just building her the landing page. She had to go in there, learn how to put out a well thought landing page. And so when you do click in the link, you're going to see her landing page. That's where you'll arrive, and then you'd put in your email address in order for you to receive the free PDF. Priyanka, one more last thing. So, should I know you are a woman of many talents? You offer things like how to make soaps. Is that something that you're going to be starting at some point? In your business where you'll be offering like live or classes online on how to create soaps or how to use essential oils. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So actually, I'm working on creating a membership site where people can actually sign up
Yes,
and pay monthly.
yes,
And in that, I do offer recipes and I do offer information about essential oils. Because if you
fantastic.
Google things, there's so much out there, and you're like, where do I start?
Yes.
So I'm going to be offering that. And one of the things that I think is going to be very special, and I'm really excited about, is I'm going to be offering workshops every month to
Mm.
people about their emotions and how to deal with certain emotions like anger management or stress or self-esteem issues, but
Yes.
just with not just figuring it out with essential oils,
Yes.
but also therapy things like how do you figure out anger management in your life? Like, what do
Mm.
you do if you're angry?
Yes.
You don't have to go to a therapist and sit with them and just deal with the issue. You can actually do things at home. And
Wow.
that's where my education in therapy as well as aromatherapy kind of comes together.
Oh,
So,
fantastic. Fantastic. So, audience, we can look forward to Priyanka setting up her membership. It's in the works, and she is working behind the scenes very hard to get this membership site up and running. And I'm excited to see that happening because it will be definitely something that is worthwhile. And Priyanka, I think one last thing I'm just going to ask you is, when I think of essential oils, there are other big companies out there like doTERRA and you name them. So my surprise is even though some people would say the market is saturated, you still decided to go ahead and do essential oils. What you've told us a little bit of the history of why you started. Why did you still decide on essential oils when someone out there saying, well, the market is saturated? What made you go against that grain?
honestly, one of the things I do believe is that no matter what you're selling, if it's good, if you know what you're doing, you
Yeah,
can make a market for it.
good.
And I do for the essential oils that I do have, I buy it from the manufacturers directly. So
Right.
I don't go to like Young Living or doTERRA and buy from them. I buy it from the manufacturers. So
Hmm.
I know that they're very pure and they haven't been mixed with carrier oils or anything like that.
Wow.
So the purity was one of the reasons why I said, I want to start.
Yes.
And the other reason is because honestly, like in this part of the world, essential oils are grown, but not a
Okay.
lot of people know how to use it or
Mm,
use it.
yes.
Um, so I'm talking about Southeast Asia, just to be clear.
Okay.
I
Yes.
mean, One of the things I did notice, like in India, for example,
Yes.
essential oils are manufactured there. Like most of the essential oils are manufactured there.
Yes.
But after having spoken to some of the manufacturers, I've learned that they don't want to sell it to the Indian people because
Oh,
of the purity. Like
yes.
if when they sell it to them, the company will take that, dilute it like 200%, and then sell it. So
Mm.
the reason why you use essential oils is gone.
Yes, absolutely. Because now it's a diluted version.
Exactly. And
Mm.
um, they don't want that. They actually want the essential oils to do what they are supposed to. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I started.
Wow. Well, good for you. I am so glad you did start Aroma Global, and I can testify to the reviews that you already have on your Facebook page that you are putting out a very well thought out product, a product that carries care, but it's a luxurious product because let's face it, audience, the essential oils that Priyanka offers in her business are not your run of the mill. So the prices are still competitive. The prices are competitive. We're not going to tell you, oh, the prices are cheaper and so forth. No, these are competitive prices for people who are looking for a luxurious blend of an oil or an essential oil and can be guaranteed that they're going to get the 100% essential oil because we know many companies out there will sell you a diluted version. But
Mhm.
as Priyanka mentioned, she is going directly to the manufacturers and purchasing the 100% and then packaging them 100% and not diluting them. Well, Priyanka, it was such a pleasure to have you on the broadcast, and we would like to have you again on the broadcast where you will actually walk us through like how you create your products and actually how you have I've seen how you've packaged it, how you actually do that with just, you with your own two hands. It's not like you're sitting at some factory line and so forth. So that is just so unique. And I know many women out there, and even some men too, want to get into essential oils but don't know how to. So thank you once again, audience, for joining us. And thank you to our guest, Miss Dinodiya. And we
Thank
will
you,
see.
Linda.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll see you again next time.